We'll call the meeting to order at 6:07. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner DeCosta will be marked absent. Commissioner Flores.
Present.
Commissioner Perillo will be marked absent. Vice Chair Khan.
Present.
And Chair Hook.
Present. If you can all join and stand me in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner Flores.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to Section 3.1, our monthly police department update.
Good evening. I'd like to first thank the City of Eastville, especially Michelle Nissen, for hosting a law enforcement and fire appreciation lunch on July 12th. I know I can speak for all the officers that attended, including myself. This lunch was greatly appreciated. It's just nice to be acknowledged now and then, so thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, did you hear that? Okay, sorry. I do have stats for June 28th through August 22nd. Calls for service, there was 4,813. 90 traffic collisions, 27 hit and run collisions, 565 parking citations, 104 noise calls, 393 alarm calls, 5 arrests for DUI, 515 citations issued. Commissioner Flores, I know last meeting you inquired about our Eastville motor citations. I have those available.
Thank you.
From May 24th to June 27th, had a total of 201. From June 28th through August 22nd, a total of 127. It is a little bit lower because he was on vacation, and he is currently in the drug abuse recognition class right now. And he'll be away from the city. He started yesterday, and he'll be back next Friday.
Okay.
I do have it broken down into Part 1 crimes, and this is from June 28th to August 22nd. There were 19 burglary calls, 21 auto thefts, 11 robberies, 106 larceny or theft calls, and 14 aggravated assaults. There was one attempting carjacking that occurred on July 29th. It occurred on Moon River Court. The victim left his car running, went inside. When he came back out, there's a Hispanic male and a Hispanic female inside his vehicle. And when he confronted them, there was a physical altercation, and then they fled in a gray Volkswagen Jetta. August 27 will be our last grant-funded DUI checkpoint for this fiscal grant period. The grant for 2016-2017 will be approved in October, and we should begin new operations in November. And that is all I have. Are there any questions?
Yes, sir. I do. First, did you print all this out and type this up for us?
Yes, I did.
I appreciate that because we're usually scrambling up here taking notes. Question regarding the 5 DUIs. Are those part of just everyday patrol operations, or that, or most of those, or some of those for DUI checkpoints?
Those weren't DUI checkpoints because during this time frame there was no checkpoint.
Great. Okay. And the attempted carjacking, is that case still open, or?
It's still, it's unsolved right now. It's open suspended.
Very good. Thank you for the breakdown on the motorcycle. Those stats are important because as we look forward and potentially getting more, we'll need these kind of stats to help us justify the cost revenue. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You have any questions? I do, Sergeant. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
The DUIs, were they centralized to one area, or was it kind of stretched out through the city?
Throughout the city, I don't have it broken down into one area.
And the attempted carjacking, you said Moon River. Was there more specific, as that's a large street? Was there any cross streets you can reference?
It was in the 6500 block.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a follow-up question. The aggravated assaults, does that include the schools, or are those just domestic type things, or what are they?
It's not domestic, just the other assault with deadly weapons or batteries that with injuries.
Are some or any of those in the schools, or is this separate?
I don't have it broken down in the schools. That's just a total in the
Okay.
city.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Sergeant.
You're welcome.
3.2, our monthly fire department update.
Honorable Chair Hook and Commissioners, unfortunately, our battalion chief is fighting fires. He's been out for the last several weeks at the Monterey fire and several others. So at this time, we do not have an update for you, but we will next month.
Thank you. 3.3, our truck route study.
Good evening, Honorable Chair and Commissioners. I have a presentation here. I combine them all in one PowerPoints, but I can do it separately. And at this point, I have a report for the Commissioners tonight about citywide truck route study. Is an update. Citywide truck route study has begun in about 2 months ago, the kickoff meeting. However, because of the school schedules, all the counts for trucks, vehiculars, and pedestrians would have been inaccurate if it's been done 2 months ago. So staff and the consultant has purposely delayed that counts until this week and next week, which when all the schools come back in operational. And we have a report that this particular report is a citywide truck route study. The task number 1, the consultant has done literature review and preliminary analysis. And the Commissioner can see the map here is this map here actually is showing Eastvale with Ontario, Chino, Norco, and Hurupa Valley on the east side is surrounded. And you don't have anything shown here because it's what we're studying right now at this point. So we are going to complete, the consultant is going to complete the accounts by the end of next week. And after that, they're going to tabulate the data and submit to the city for review in about 3 to 4 weeks or so. And actually it's reflected in the schedule. Next page, next slide. They will submit a suggested truck routes to the city. And you see the gap here between the week of 26th of September and January 2017. During this gap, there will be meetings between city staff and consultants, between city staff and consultants, and also surrounding cities to discuss their truck routes and how they integrate with Eastvale truck routes. And the study is expected to be completed by the end of December or early January, and for final review and to be submitted and to be presented to the Planning Commission, to the Public Safety Commission, and eventually for the City Council for adoption of the truck routes itself, the plan. So the study, the dates in here is estimated, and the tentative schedule is not for sure. It depends on the comments that the staff would receive from the Commission, also from the City Council at that time. So this concludes the report on the truck route study, and staff has more updates at the, shall I do the report now or later?
Honorable Chairman and Commissioners, the Public Works Department does have additional updates for you this evening. Would you prefer that he conduct those updates now, or would you like to wait for staff updates later on in the agenda? We do not have any business items tonight.
I would say since we're on the slideshow, let's go ahead and proceed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I apologize for the confusion here on my part. And the second update that we have this evening for you is construction and installation of traffic signal at Sumner and 65th. This location, Sumner 65th, was warranted by a study for the traffic signal back in June or May of last year, and immediately was included into the fiscal year 15-16 budget. And in November of last year, a consultant was selected by the City Council, and the contract was entered, Advantech Consulting from Diamond Bar. And they have studied the study and the design of these traffic signals. And the signal design right now is nearing completion. It's about 90%, 100% completion. This week, we should have received the 100% construction plan, including the specs. And the 29th of, week of 29th of August, we plan for a final review of the package and getting ready for the bid advertising. Staff expected the bid award by the City Council to be at this meeting on October 26th, and due to ordering of the mass arms and signal poles, which is a long lead items, staff is hopeful by the end of February the construction is going to be complete. We have received some concerns and complaints from residents for this area, because there is no stop sign, or there is a stop sign currently, but there is no signal between Limonite and Sumner. So this is going to be the first one here. So staff is looking forward to have this completed and address some traffic issues in the area. That is about signal update. The next update is about Riverboat Drive cul-de-sac.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question? The
Sure.
65th and Sumner, is that just a four-way? In other words, are there going to be any left-hand turn bays, or just straight through?
At this point, the left turns is not going to be protective. It's going to be just straight through, and then regular left turns, because we did the counts before, and left turn movements doesn't meet warrants in that area. So it's going to be regular signals.
Okay.
If I may ask one question also, unless my streets are off, this is the back side of Harada Elementary? No, where Sumner is?
Sumner and
West of Hamner.
65th.
Okay, okay, okay,
Harada is further north, I believe.
okay.
Yeah. The next update the staff has for the commission tonight is Riverboat Drive, the cul-de-sac. And let me just go to the next slide, which is the map to make it easier. In 2014, late 2014, or maybe mid-2014, Riverboat Drive used to be, Sliceman Road was terminated because of the construction of Sliceman, which is curved continuing to 8th Street all the way to Hamner. With the closure of Riverboat of the street, we have a cul-de-sac at the end, and we have a driveway, private driveway, to serve the property on the corner, Mr. Sugandam's property, and also another driveway to the house next to Massey Harris. And this cul-de-sac is a private street, it's a public street all the way. And from here on is private drive. And we have added multiple signs. We have a dead end street and roadway sign, road end sign at this location. But during the time since this one is open, a lot of vehicular traffic have mistakenly thought this to be a Sliceman Drive. So my understanding is that when they have either Outlook or Google Map or the other map, it's still showing as Sliceman. So their GPS show this as a through street, even though it's not. So there are a few accidents where the cars just went straight through the cul-de-sac and then go all the way at the screeching halt, and then there's some bollards here, they hit the bollards and some of the barricades. So with that concern, staff had a meeting with D.R. Horton, which is still responsible for the development of this site, and to see what additional measures should be taken to address these issues. Staff also had a meeting internally to review these locations, what we can do. So the plan is being prepared right now by D.R. Horton design team to add additional measure, which is, this is 7-Eleven, it's Hamner, to add the road end sign, say 2,000 feet from here, and somewhere mid-block, we're gonna add another, say, road end sign 1,000 feet, and before it hits the end. And each of these signs would be added along with the flashing lights. And we are cognizant of the fact that there are some residential area here. Put it down. No, not right now. Yeah. So we are cognizant about the fact there are some residents here, so we have to make sure that the lights are not, bothering them at night time, especially. But we're going to add one here and one sign there. We also, what we're going to add is, this is the blow up of the cul-de-sac. At the private drive right here, half of the street that is there now is landscaping. The northerly half is a paved area. We have to maintain this road because of the private drive for this property, number one. Number two, we have to make it open. We cannot block this because this is also a place where there is an existing utilities underground. Gas line, electrical, water, and sewer. So we have to maintain this as an access when we vacate this street as public road. So what we're trying to do here is that we're going to put a trail fence made of PVC at the center of the street, which is between the landscape area and the paved area. And then we're going to put reflectors at the end to show when people still missing all these additional signs we're going to put in here, they have all the a sense of choker at the end with the white fence and with the reflectors. We still have bollards at the end. The bollards are still going to be at the end of the driveway here. And the developer is going to add a couple more shrubberies at the end of the street, because right now some people say at night they can still see the signal light at Scholar and Sliceman as if this is a true street with the signalized intersection right there. So we have considered all these measures to be added in the next 2 weeks or 30 days to add the safety measures to this area. I would pause here. Let me go back to the other slide showing, yeah, we're going to add these measures that I have shared before. I'm sorry. I'm going to pause right here if there's any question from the commissioners that I can address.
All the road end signs will be permanent, correct?
I'm sorry,
The
sir.
road end signs or not a through street sign will be permanent?
Yes, sir. Yes. And this is as a result of the county improvements. If you remember, this A Street has always not shown here. The other half of A Street going into Hamner Avenue has always been there for many, many years with a dead end here. So when D.R. Horton development comes in, they simply making a connection from Scholar all the way to the end of A Street, giving all this curved street all the way. So this has always been a plan for a dead end street at the end of west of Patsy Harris. Have any question?
Now, at the end of that, if I remember right, there's just concrete barriers. Am I right? I can't remember
I
right.
think they're K-frames, aren't they?
Kind of,
At the end of the cul-de-sac here?
yeah, at the very end, right before what used to be the rest of Schleißman, or what is the rest of Schleißman now. Right there where you, yeah.
You meant right now at the end, or used to be?
So where the intersection was,
Yeah.
there's a white line.
Kind of the curvature
Yeah.
of Schleitzman.
Yeah.
Those are barricades there.
Yeah, there is a barricade during construction. Right now, we removed the barricades, so we put the bollards at the end here.
What is the long-term plan for that section?
We have a landscaping continually all the way to here. But they are considering to add more shrubberies at higher levels, so they won't see, when they drive at night, they won't see the car lights going that way. We're trying to block as much as you can on the visibility side, and adding more measures to really to warn the traffic coming from the east side to warn them to stop there. We also have some concern about people park in this area because of the school traffic. As you can see, this portion is still open for foot traffic, for pedestrians to go to school. So a lot of parents are using this to park and to stage. So right now, they have sign, we have 2-3 signs that say no stoppings. And our sheriff department have been very cooperative and doing enforcements. And then just this afternoon, our staff went out to the field, and there is a sheriff car in there. It's been there for 3 days, and Sergeant Davis. So we increase enforcement as much as we can to show that we are concerned about the traffic here, and we are very hopeful by adding these additional signs and measures, it's going to address the issues.
Is that red curb? Is it painted red there, or is there going to be?
At the cul-de-sac now is not, but it is not a bad idea. We have to consider that as well. Right now, we just put no stopping sign at any time. Let me move on to the next item. The next item is just informational only. We have applied for this ATP Cycle 3 grant a few months ago, and this is something that is going to occur regarding the bike lane provided at the city streets leading to the schools, and to encourage biking and walking to schools. So we have applied, and the result's going to be in the next several months. And one of the applications says that we are trying to provide road diet. Road diet is what you have seen in here, but this is strictly confidential, not confidential, it's strictly conceptual. And we understand that we, staff, would have to go back to you, Commission, and also to the City Council for approval before we present this, and even before City Council take the grant, if we are to get the grant, granted the grant at time. So again, this is strictly conceptual. What we're gonna do here in the wide streets of, I believe, Scholar, Harrison, and 65th. Scholar, we may not have opportunity, especially between Sliceman and Citrus, because of the multitude of schools, 3 schools there. But in certain areas that is still wide, there may be an opportunity we can put road diet. We still have to consider the traffic counts, traffic volumes, make sure by solving this, adding bike lanes, we are not going to create more traffic issues. So this is strictly conceptual, just provided here for your information, for your review.
Question on the grant. Is that for the surveying and painting and all that, and is it a full grant or partial?
The grant has a match about 20% or so. We applied for what, $1.5 million grant, and the match is about $400,000.
So if I could interject, Commissioners, this grant, we took to council seeking approval. It's customary when there's a local match on a grant to take the item to council for approval for us to even pursue a grant that has a local match. During that time, the City Council indicated that they would like to see a full presentation of this concept prior to acceptance of the grant, because they felt that some of these areas that are proposed in the grant for road diet may not actually be a good fit for certain areas. So we will be bringing before the Commission and the Council a presentation on what a road diet is in the areas that were proposed in the grant, and we'll also be including some simulations, if I am correct, from Cal Poly Pomona students. We're going to be utilizing them in their
We did
engineering
have a
department.
presentation, though, several months back.
Not of that presentation was regarding our bicycle master plan. So now that you have a plan, now you need to now we need to pursue grants to actually provide infrastructure changes. And you couldn't get those type of infrastructure changes until you had a plan. So now that we have a plan, we're moving forward with that. But there's a lot of different options in that plan. And it got, some of the presentation, I think, if you recall, was confusing. Well, how do you know what to do now and where? And so this is now where you start peeling back the onion a little bit and getting into more of the meat of what can be done on certain sections, because it's not going to be the same recipe for every road. So this is something that we'll be bringing back to the commission shortly, probably before the first quarter of January, first quarter of 17, hopefully, to give you kind of an overview of what a road diet looks like. Because initially it sounds kind of scary. You're talking about potentially taking away a lane or making the lane skinnier, and it's something that does require a significant amount of education and outreach in the community. So this is just conceptually something that we wanted to provide you with, since that will be coming down the pipe, and it kind of ties into an update on grants that I'm going to be giving to you.
Thank you.
Did you have any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Moving on to section 4.4, our consent calendar.
There's item 3.4, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Grant updates 3.4. Let me back up there.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Commissioners. I just wanted to provide you with a brief verbal update this evening on grants, many of which relate to public safety. So I wanted to, this is something that did go to council several weeks back, but I think it's important for the commissioners to have as well. On June 23rd, the city submitted, through our grant writing consultant, the city submitted for the COPS grant. That was a very labor-intensive grant application that took a lot of sheriff's department staff time, city staff time, and our consultants' time. But we are looking for the COPS grant to fund 2 additional law enforcement officers for, I believe it's a 2-year period, and then the city has to pay for them for the 3rd year. So keep your fingers crossed that our local match portion of that is to pay for the 3rd year. So keep your fingers crossed. We should find out sometime in the fall or winter if we were successful. We also have the Beyond grant, which you've heard me mention several times. This was through WRCOG, which is the Western Riverside Council of Governments. We applied for an $83,000 grant, and the council and commission directed staff to pursue a Safe Routes to School oriented infrastructure. So we are placing 10 to 12 speed radar signs around the school zones. And these are signs that flash that show that you're entering a school zone, and it's also capturing your radar speed. This is not going to be taking photos of people speeding. It's simply to create more awareness to the drivers that they're entering a school zone and that they need to slow it down. But it does also, which is very critical, captures data so that we can download that data and see what the peak times, what the various speeds are, what the average speed is, and we can work with the Sheriff's Department to allocate resources more effectively around the school zones based on the data from the signs. So we are currently in the bid advertising stage of that grant, and we hope to have the signs installed in October. As was mentioned by Joe Inderon, we had submitted for the ATP Cycle 3, and that was in June. And so we're still waiting for the status and on whether or not we were successful, and that was a $1.5 million grant application. The COPS grant was, I believe, also $1.5 million. We recently pursued the Caltrans SHIP grant, and that is a $250,000 grant application, and that is to pursue swapping out the pedestrian crossings at all of the traffic signals throughout the city. So swapping them out to have a countdown and an audible tone that says, you know, don't walk and walk, but it also counts it down to let the students know how much time they have to get across the street. And it's very important around our school sites for the little ones. So that's about 20 to 25 intersections. Again, it's a $250,000 grant, and that was submitted on August 12th. And again, we're hoping for an award sometime in the fall. And the other grant application that was submitted was in June of 2015, and it was for sidewalk improvements at Schleisman, Citrus, and Hamner, and that was $138,500, and we're currently in the design stage of that. We're in a design RFP at this time. And I believe that is all that I have for you right now on grants for this meeting. But we do have a grant consultant that was hired recently, and the city is pursuing all sorts of grants for everything from art in public places to library grants to emergency management to safe routes to school. We're really making our grant consultant work hard for their dollars. So we'll be updating the commission and council on a quarterly basis moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 4, the consent calendar. Any items wish to pull? No motion?
Okay, I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve. I'll second it.
You have a vote?
Commissioner DaCosta,
Aye.
Commissioner Flores,
Aye.
Vice Chair Khan,
Aye.
Chair Hook.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Section 5, we have business items. There's none listed, so we'll move on to section 6, public comment. Do we have any public comment forms?
No, sir.
Okay. Moving on, item 7, city staff report.
Good evening, Honorable Chair and Commissioners. I do have a few items for you this evening. First, would like to remind the Commissioners that City Hall will be closed on September 5th in observance of Labor Day. And would also like to remind the Commissioners that September 10th is Eastvale Day at the LA County Fair. I believe you all received an invitation. We have a special gig going on this year because we have a community hero that was nominated from Eastvale residents. I'm sure you all know Jane Anderson. She was nominated as our community hero, and there's going to be a parade and a lot of festivities at the LA County Fair this year, and Saturday, September 10th in the morning, is dedicated to Eastvale. So please come on out and support the day. We are encouraging everyone that would like to participate in the parade to come on down, and there is a coupon on the city's website that you can download. Since you're commissioners, you guys get in for free, but we hope you'll be in the parade and ride on a float. But for everyone else that would like to attend, there is a coupon on the city's website that you can download for discounted admission. I believe it's $5 admission. We also have our annual September 11th memorial and a moment of silence at Fire Station on Hamner, Fire Station 27. That will begin at 6:45 a.m. And September 16th through 18th, we have a free CERT class again. And this is a grant-funded course, and we're able to make that free for all participants. The class is limited to about 40 participants, so we encourage you, if you have not participated before. I know Commissioner Khan and Commissioner DaCosta have gotten CERT trained. You get some free goodies, backpacks, books, all sorts of fun stuff, and you're together for 3 days. It is a lot of commitment, but I think you gentlemen would attest it was fantastic training. So you're welcome to come on out, you know, as former alumni. So that's all day on, well, actually half a day on the 16th, but all day on the 17th, and pretty much all day on the 18th. And you do need to complete the entire course to actually be CERT trained. So the link is on the city's website if you'd like to register, or if you'd like to share that with any of your friends, family, and neighbors. There's a landscaping class on September 17th at the Eastvale Community Center. And again, this year for October 5th, we will be doing the International Walk to School Day again. You guys were fantastic in participating last year and picking a school of your choice, and we will be doing that again this year. We are the only city in all of Riverside County that gets every school within their jurisdiction to participate. So we're kind of the poster child for International Walk to School Day. So we'll be doing that again. City Hall is coordinating with all of the principals and the district staff. So watch for some emails and pick a school if you'd like to participate, and we'll make that happen. More important things going on. We have received notice from Senator Roth's office that Senate Bill 817 is moving on to the governor for signature. Senate Bill 817 is to restore the VLF funding that Eastvale lost. This is really critical for us. It amounts to roughly $16.2 million that we have lost since 2011. And without that VLF funding, it's an additional $2.9 million of continuing loss year over year. So Senator Roth is working very hard to find an additional solution for Eastvale. We do have some letters of support, which I have provided to the commission. We would greatly appreciate it if you would sign it and print your name, address, telephone number, and email, and we will be delivering these letters to Senator Roth so that he can kind of bombard the governor with letters of support from Eastvale residents. This is also posted on the city's website. We're encouraging citizens to download it and fill it in and email or fax it to Senator Roth's office. I have copies here this evening for any of our residents that are in attendance that would like to sign a letter of support. We will also have copies at the front counter at City Hall Monday through Friday, 7:30 to, Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5:30. And tomorrow evening at the City Council meeting, we will also have copies for citizens to sign. So if anyone would like to sign a letter of support, we have that here. I'd also like to share with commissioners that tomorrow evening on the City Council agenda is a roadway adoption. This was a request from Mayor Pro Tem Tesseri. It's taken several months to develop a draft of this rather large undertaking. But we will have that on the city council agenda tomorrow evening. And it is just a draft because it's a very large undertaking, so we imagine there would be significant comment and suggestions. For those of you that may not have heard the announcement, council did approve an additional 10 hours for the Sheriff's Department contract, and that took effect July 1st. So we do have additional officers on the street, and that is in addition to the motor officer that was added last year. So well, hopefully we will see some additional wonderful stats coming out of the Sheriff's Department. The big news of today is that Costco signed a letter of intent and submitted all their development plans to City Hall yesterday. So that is something that myself and staff have been working on for several months. It was a kind of a confidential negotiations, and finally it has come to fruition. So very, very excited to announce that Costco will be calling Eastvale home here soon. So we're looking for a fall opening of 2017. And it will be a slightly larger building than the normal Costco's at about 158,000 square feet with 24 gas pumps and a land set aside for a drive-through car wash. So if you guys are familiar with the Costco in Torrance, California, it will be a very similar format, but more gas pumps. And that will be located in the Goodman Commerce Center retail portion on Cantu, Galliano, and Hamner. And then also other good news that we do have Smart and Final Express that is going to be the anchor at the retail location on the corner of Sumner and Limonite. That was the Evergreen project where you have Les Schwab is also an anchor, and there's several other pads. Despite the rumors that were going around in the city, that was never a done deal for Sprouts. So I know there was a lot of rumors going around, and there's a lot of people that are disappointed, but that was never a done deal that it was Sprouts. And in fact, all of the Sprouts that were proposed in Riverside County lost their deal as well. So it wasn't just Eastvale. And this is part of the reason why City Hall keeps things very confidential, because it's really never a done deal until there's a letter of intent and there are development plans submitted. Even then, it's still not a done deal. Sometimes it takes years for these things to come to fruition. And also, Volkswagen, Audi, and Porsche are putting in a global training center, again at the Goodman Commerce Center at Hamner and Belgrave. So that will be a significant, not a revenue generator per se, but as far as employment and the skill set that they're looking for employees at that location, it's going to be a fantastic project for Eastvale. And that is all I have unless the commission has any questions.
Do we have proposed completion dates for some of these projects? I know you mentioned Costco fall of next year, but Smart and Final.
Smart and Final Express, I believe they are also looking for a fall opening. They want to do a groundbreaking soon, so you should receive an invitation as soon as we get that date settled with their corporate office. But again, a fall opening. The Volkswagen, Audi, and Porsche location, they're grading it right now. You can see the entire business park at Belgrave and Hamner is being graded, and they too are also looking for a fall opening. Fall 2017, not 16.
That'll be good news for our local businesses, for sure.
Yes, yes. And a tenant like that and Amazon tends to attract hotel users, so we're hoping that we'll secure a hotel here as well soon.
Fantastic. Anything else?
Nothing for me.
Thank you. Item 8, Commission Communications. Anyone?
Oh, I do have one. So about 2 months or so ago, maybe 3, I had asked about doing the numbers on the rental registration program. In the interim, a family decision was made to move within Eastvale, and we're going to be putting up a rent, so I'm conflicted out. So as far as from my perspective, you can withdraw it unless other commissioners want to keep that as an item for the future.
Actually, commissioners, we are going to be doing that. Only there's been a lot of significant changes at City Hall with how code enforcement ties into that process. We've been streamlining some of the internal operations and involving more of the city attorney's office. So the city attorney is working on putting together a kind of an overall view of not only rental registration, but the foreclosure registration program, as well as an overview of all the stats for code enforcement. So it's going to be kind of one big item, or multiple items delivered at the same time. So we do have that slated on the agenda calendar for future. And did you say you're moving from
within Eastvale?
Oh, within Eastvale.
From where
Oh,
Cedar
okay.
Creek to Black Forest.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, good. I'm glad we're not losing you.
Can't get rid of it. I have to get those Costco hot dogs.
Nice.
Anybody else?
If I may, I wanted to commend the Sheriff's Department, and I made some contact with Officer Cleveland in the past, as he rides a slick wrap car in the city, as well as Officer Newman recently had some family interaction with my children, and it was quite positive to see them not only patrolling the city, but the way they interacted with the family. So I wanted to commend the department. And that's all I had.
I did, oh, go ahead. After you, sir.
Thanks. Also wanted, Sergeant Davis, great job with your lieutenant gone. I know what it's like to fill in, so great job. And I would imagine when Lieutenant Forbes comes back, there'll be a PowerPoint on calls for service. I think we had that and it was postponed, so I look forward to seeing that presentation. Also, just great job for the city for continuing these grants. I'm interested as you proceed with a grant to get a library in the city. I think that would be really great. So just thank you very much.
Well, again, Sergeant, I want to thank you for the prep work on the stats you gave us. That saves me a lot of chicken scratch in the long run trying to read through it later. Much appreciated. Great job on that. Thank you. I did attend the quarterly school board meeting, and there's a lot of focus going into the National Walk to School Day as well as Rondo Elementary coming up. So it's still a lot of works in progress. Michelle was there with me, but it's moving along very well. Street signs, parking, school lots. They're going through a lot of park options of what they can do for the kids as well. So that's coming along. Outside of that, that is all I have. Okay. Item 9, future agenda items.
I think with the new school year starting, once things settle down, I think I would like to see us fire the school liaison program back up that we had going. I think it would be, after the things settle down for them, I think it'd be a good opportunity to, especially now that we have some developments going on as far as the signs and the studies going on, that that would be a good chance to update the schools and hear back from them based on their beginning of the year concerns.
So do we need a vote to put that back on the agenda for the next meeting?
Consensus would be fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So if we can add that, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, and then also Commissioner Flores had asked for the calls for service presentation.
I believe
So-
Lieutenant Forbes had one prepared, but he left it last time, so we're just
Yes.
eagerly anticipating that presentation.
Perfect.
Thank
We'll
you.
have that on the next agenda as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. We will adjourn the meeting at 6:57 PM.